right, folks, we are live this Friday, May 22nd, 2009. It's the Infowarrior. 3 full hours of news and calls, 866-582-9933. Want to kick it off with families of July 7th bombing victims fear they may never learn the truth. This is out of the Telegraph. And, folks, this is just like the 9/11 cover-up. It took a few years to get the commission set up. They didn't want to do it at first, and then the whitewash through that lasted, I think, 12 to 18 months, and then they put out a report. Well, this one, they're saying that they may not even do a truth commission. The bereaved families of victims of the July 7th bombings have expressed outrage after being told an inquest into the deaths of their loved ones may not be necessary or could be replaced by a secret inquiry. And you could see that this was definitely about to happen because earlier in the week we reported that some of the police officers that were involved in the investigation, the initial investigation, were arrested on charges that they somehow misappropriated funds during the investigation. My money's on that they knew too much. They were going to give contradictory statements. They threatened these guys. They didn't, cow down to the threats, and now they're in jail. Let's read more. Andrew Scott Reed, the inner London coroner, has written to relatives of the 52 people who died in the bomb blast nearly 4 years ago, saying that a full inquest may not be required because a verdict of unlawful killing is inevitable. In the 5-page letter, Mr. Scott Reed makes clear that the inquests, which were adjourned in the aftermath of the killings, could simply be reopened and cause of death given. He says a decision to appoint a High Court judge to preside over the inquest has already been taken by Jack Straw, the Justice Secretary, but a suitable candidate has not yet been found, and realistically, the inquest may not go ahead for another year. Mr. Straw dropped measures to hold inquests in secret from a government bill last week, but he added the ministerial statement that there was where it was not possible to proceed with an inquest under the current arrangements. See, they're trying to cover up the entire thing. I mean, give me a break. First of all, it's going to be awfully tough to cover up the fact that you're running a drill through Visor Consultants of blowing up the same 3 train stations at the same exact time. Very difficult. It's going to be difficult to cover up the fact that you said these associates that were involved with the 7/7 bombings, people who didn't commit suicide, you couldn't even convict them in a court of law. And, kind of a nexus point here, we talked about it yesterday, but these 4 men in New York, just like was predicted by Prison Planet, and really given away in the New York Daily News article yesterday, or the New York Times article, I'm not sure which one it was, that these guys were half retarded. They were petty criminals. They had they couldn't get guns. They had no idea to make weapons. They had no connections to any other terrorist organizations. They were recruited by the FBI. The FBI informants, they were the ones that were provocatoring this. And, it'll be 2 or 3 years before we see a trial. And when we do see a trial, we'll see how many they can convict. They couldn't convict those half-retarded people down in Florida, could they? Of course, those guys did not plant the fake bombs. They just got, I think it was fertilizer and some other quote-unquote bomb-making material sent to them. So, I really do hope one day we can find out the truth behind 9/11, 7/7. And on the 9/11 front, Cheney reaffirmed yesterday during his speech that he indeed was in his bunker about an hour before the Pentagon attack. Moments later, in the PEOC, that's the Presidential Emergency Operating Center, with Norman Mineta the entire time. And Mineta says that he gave some kind of an order and knew the Pentagon was going to be hit. But you see, the 9/11 Commission doesn't want you to know about it. They whitewash it. No, it wasn't there till 9:52. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas, 866-582-9933. Back after this.